All right, everyone, welcome to our game review from Saturday's game. First of all, I thought it was a really good game overall, and I'm gonna let it play as we're working with the camera a little bit. But was really proud of the effort of the fight. It was a battle, and I think that's just the mentality that we have to recognize that we need going into games like this. It's just a battle, We're nice guys and we like to have fun. But soccer at this level really is kind of like a mentality of a battle. So quick note here, I'll try to highlight some good things and then talk about some things that we need to change. And it's nothing significant. I think there's a lot of simple fixes that really will benefit the team moving forward. But I like this moving the ball wide. I think we started to see more of that, started creating some opportunities as a result. One of the most important things that I want to stress for our forward and when we're playing in a 4-2-3-1 is that he really looks to move ball side and not just kind of live in the middle of the park. Something that is important about that is the fact that at this level, you're going to see two really good center backs kind of living in that space. So you want to get away from those guys. You want to drag those guys with you. So one way to do that is to move. It's not just stand there. You're easy to mark when you're just stationary up top. So move left and right ball side. Always. So make your game lateral, not just east and west. We're always also moving north and south. I think that's right. Or maybe I have it backwards. Anyway, get the idea. This particular play, I think you could see how it could develop in a 1 and 2 touch situation where you lay the ball off, drop it back to Alan, the center mid here, who's checked into the space behind, and he could play a ball forward and break the line, that back line, with the ball forward for the forward to run onto. So just to think about how we can be more dynamic in breaking that back line, things we will work on in practice this week and following, but this will help me kind of figure out what we can do in practice to help this. It's okay to turn and move forward. I think something that I want wingers to recognize, if it's a 1v1, go for it. If it's a 1v2, I think we got to pull the ball back and look for support. And I also want to see the center midfielder be more central and not necessarily drop all the way back to the line like this. That is really the space for our outside back, who is too inside. So he should be dropping back and becoming the back pass option. And then the midfielder should push up into the middle of the field. Really, my two center mids should never be straying too wide, should never be playing outside the line, outside the numbers if you're looking at a multi-purpose field. They should be trying to stay inside at least the football numbers. If you have to track a little bit wide, okay, but typically center of the field between the numbers is where you should try to live. And let those outside spaces get occupied by the outside wings and then the outside backs. So that's what needs to happen positionally here to clean it up. And outside back needs to be aware of marks to defend. He's too high. There's a Logan, I believe. Drop back, goal side of your man. You can't be caught this high and you're too narrow up there. Like, you've got to be the man who's back. You're the defender. The midfielder needs to live in that space. It's almost like you guys switch positions on me, but there's no reason for that ever. So you need to drop back, Logan, and be with this man because the ball gets played over your head and no one is there to defend him. Now, it's good recovery from a positional standpoint as far as using your body to keep him turned, and that's part of the 4Ds of defense. But it's just important that we're not that we're positionally sound so that we don't have to do these scrambly kind of moves. We'd rather be smart defensively and tactically on point so that we don't have to scramble as much and really make these sort of emergency situation defensive moves. So center mid needs to be the one who is marking and staying with this runner. You can see Ian kind of pointing to him. Ian is the free man. He is the center back who is not marking. So center mid, you have no one that you're really marking. I see Soren on a man. I see Skylar on a man. And Ian is asking you to cover this guy so he can stay free as the dropping center back. So just something to work on as center mids. They did a lot of this. Their forward dropped in and allowed their runners to go through. So mids, just stay with those marks. Stay with that center midfielder and run forward with him. There's nobody in that space. Everyone else is pretty much guarded or would be, and the center back is the one that needs to be free to do that. All right, get our camera up so we've got a little better angle of the field here. All right, Alex, so one thing, and you started doing this better, I think, as the game went on, and maybe we talked about it a little bit. You stay narrow as they're trying to reset the ball. I don't want you stepping to pressure the center back. I want you to live right there and screen. The winger needs to screen that split pass so that we don't get split through the middle. Make him play a predictable pass to the outside back on the far side. That's where you want him to play the ball, not get split through the center of the park like I think is what happens because you step too high and he's able to play it through. That's a really dangerous ball, and that basically cuts our defense down by half. So just something for wingers to be aware of. And I think that it gets better as the day goes on, maybe because I'm yelling at you to do that. But you start to adapt, and it gets better. So, but just off the bat, we got to just avoid that split pass through the middle of the field. Little scrambling on defense. Soren, something you need to do better is really look to be more physical in the midfield. You tend to try to poke the ball away with your foot. I need you to use your body and not be afraid to be physical into the body because you can. And second of all, Logan, outside backs can't switch off here. That's your man. He gets beyond you, and you're kind of caught watching. So this happens a few times, by the way, Logan. I don't know if it was just the day or what, but we've got to make sure that we don't allow that to happen. But this is good, dropping back to get it and to work together to try to get the ball out of pressure. I want to see more of that. So while we're here, Rumi does a great job of getting this ball, collecting it, and pulling and turning and moving down the line. That's exactly right. Soren's in a great position to support. You have Logan as a back pass, and now he's got two guys on him. And this is the second time we've seen two guys kind of collapse on our winger. So forward, again, like before, make that run to the wing. Rumi, look up, take a peek, take a touch, and then play that ball on the ground forward into space right down the line because that's the run that the forward needs to be making. So it happens. Unfortunately, we get the ball stolen. So it's important defensively that like I've tried to help us understand, you have your 4 Ds of defense: delay, deny, dictate, and defend. And the other principle of good defense is that in this place on the field, we're in our defensive third, and there are two guys collapsing on the ball gets by, or the man gets by, but the ball and the man do not get by. Again, Soren, you're just kind of stabbing in with your leg, and I think, Logan, you're a little bit, you're dropping back a little as well. You guys are going to go in hard and run through the ball and win the ball here because it could be dangerous and it can get dangerous really fast. And then Allen is the center mid who's not really marking. Again, he's just kind of sitting and guarding space. So I want to make sure that our center, and you don't need to do that because Anthony is really there and Ian is there. So we're covered there as far as bodies, blue shirts. You got to step to the man who's unmarked in the midfield because he's the guy who ends up getting the ball here, and no one is with him. All right. So here's a great example of what we need to do if the through ball happens and our outside back gets beat because of that. What you need to do is put your head down and run hard towards that near post. Near post recovery run. Think about that. NPR, near post recovery. And the center back does a good job of stepping out to attack and to close down the man. So the biggest problem is that we can't overcommit and we can't stab. We just have to be really smart defensively. Side on, break down our run so that we're on our toes, but we're in a defensive athletic stance. All right? That happens a lot. And at this level, I know we're trying to recover. I know we're trying to do well and keep them from winning the ball, but we just have to be a little more balanced within our own bodies because that's what they want you to do. They want you to overcommit. They're getting you to stab in and then just play around you. So it's important that we don't do this. We're a little disorganized here with our defense. The ball's come out to the 20-yard line roughly, if I can use the football lines and numbers to help us. And so I don't want us to scramble, but let's think about organizing. Let's think about getting in shape. Let's think about marking men. Those things are super crucial. So it's not terrible, but I think there are bodies that need to be moved kind of a little more up and out so that we have men that we're marking. Yes, we want to stay narrow in defense, and that part of it is good, but there's blue shirts around, and there aren't people who are really aware of how you need to screen those bodies. So as a result, this ball comes in, and it gets through almost everyone. And good job knocking it away, but I think, again, just awareness of where we all need to be defensively. All right, good job playing the ball out to the winger. I think that's great. We need to continue to look for those guys. An important note is that when the ball's coming to you, you have an option to play the ball or let the ball play you. If you let the ball bounce, you're letting the ball play you, because you can't really dictate how that ball is going to bounce. It could bounce high, it could skip. You just never know. It depends on the spin of the ball, depends on the surface. Is it wet? Is it grass? Is it artificial? Like, those things are things you cannot control. But if you go to the ball and your first touch is out of the air, you have some control over that. So as a result of allowing the ball to play you, now you've got to adapt and try to win the ball after a really tough bounce. So just want everyone to be aware of that. Try to play the ball out of the air if you can. Like, that's why we work on long balls with each other in practice, so you can work on that first touch. I think at this point the game is busy on the right. We're in a crowded space. I'd love for center backs to start anticipating that and maybe swing the ball backwards and play it quickly to our goalkeeper, who can play feet to the other side. And then we'll work a little bit on this in the coming practices as well, because I think it's important just to recognize and continue to move into the right positions to do this. It's a little better with defense, not over-committing there, Logan. It's much better just kind of getting your body between him and the ball and just standing him up, and that's good. All right, so something that I want to address now that actually gets better as the half moves on is that our mids really kind of need to live in something of a line right around the 30, 35-yard line, so that we're all kind of there, because what tends to happen is that our mids kind of push too high. And so a lot of times the punts come in and we're all too high. They have like three guys in that space, and we're kind of above the 40-yard line. So let's do this. Let's get our outside backs a little bit wider. Let's try to push our wingers even a little bit higher. But our mids live in that 35-yard line zone, kind of across the middle. We have three midfielders, so we just need to make sure that we win the first ball on these punts. And at this one, we're a little bit high because we're kind of beyond that zone. So you'll notice, and I think I'll point it out later, that on the goal kicks and the punts, the midfielders in a better spot. And as a result, we win many more of the balls out of the back. So, Robin, I'm just going to point this out. You've got to stay higher. Like, they've got all three of their guys in the back line, like, pushing up high. Well, why don't you counter that by pushing to the 50-yard line? You can't be offsides in our half of the field. So be higher. Force them to stay back and defend you, because if anything else, that allows our mids to have a little more time and not so many blue bodies, blue shirts around them. Plus, if you're higher, you can really challenge for this ball, but you got sucked in a little too deep. This was great class work in pressuring high out of the back. I thought you guys did a really good job. The biggest thing, again, for wingers is that we don't get sucked too wide immediately, that we kind of live in that middle zone. Rumi does a pretty good job of staying here, but you want to screen over your right shoulder, because you don't want that center pass to split us there. But everyone's moving correctly to mark their men. Robin is pressuring the outside, the center back, and trying to seal off a back pass, which is good. And then everyone else is moving into position to do, to mark their men. I think it's important here that we recognize when the center back cuts back inside that we really need to squeeze that middle lane there. And Soren, it's important that you as the midfielders and all midfielders need to step on the inside shoulder so that this player doesn't have time to turn and beat you inside. Now you've given him the inside lane, and now he can link up with his midfielders. So, and then the overcommitment by our mids is something that everyone is doing across the board. If we can just be more consistent with smart defensive posture and positioning, that's going to do a lot to keep us in game. This happened a lot. I know they had a very big forward, and he was a handful. But there's a number of. But you guys are a physical bunch, and if you just pressure him, he doesn't have time to turn. But there's a lot of moments where he has a lot of space to turn with the ball because everyone kind of drops back. Pressure him immediately, so then he doesn't have time to do this. But well done, Ian, dropping back and being that last-minute defense, anticipating a bad touch. Anthony pressured him, and he lost the ball, and we got it back. And this is the moment where I need to see that center back recognize there's a little bit of space. I want to see a winger kind of immediately sprint to the sideline to be that outlet pass. And you start to see this, I think, again, a little later in the game. But I think if we're just aware of it and kind of switched on to be looking for this, then this will help open up the game. So when Rumi moves wide, that defender has to decide, am I going to go with him or am I going to stay? If he goes with, Soren's got a whole bunch of space there to check into, so then he could be the person that Ian plays. If the defender stays narrow, Rumi now has space on the wing. But I don't want us to just cough the ball right back up here by forcing a bad pass. So Ian can probably even take a couple touches into space himself, and now we're being countered again. Cross comes in. We're in dangerous position. Everybody's scrambling. It sort of becomes a bit of a theme for us when we are unable to really get the ball out and wide and try to move the ball up together. Again, I think you see a little bit of a momentum shift as we get better at it in the latter stages of the first half. This is a great punt, by the way. Almost to the 50-yard line. That's fantastic. And then forward is higher. That's good. Better positioning there, applying pressure to the back center backs, and that's exactly right. And this is a great idea. I think I'm going to go back a few minutes, and if you see Rumi as a winger, let's push higher. Let's not walk. Let's sprint up high. Let's push the back line, and let's really force them to defend us instead of walking. It's easy to defend someone who's standing and who's walking, but when you're dynamic and you're moving, this ball might actually get through, and we might be able to break the line. But that's a great ball through. I just want us to be aware of that. All right, we're playing out of the back. It's good. Playing up top and forcing them to try to play out of pressure. There's a lot of great moments with that. And now let's talk about throw-ins here. I'm going to pause it because I want to make sure that we're doing a few things. Number one, whenever possible, I want our outside backs taking these throw-ins, okay? That's crucial. And I want wingers on the line, and I want forwards middle. And so what I want to see is basically I want to see our winger kind of checking in, and our forward basically checking into the wing area that the winger has vacated. One center mid checking to the ball, one center mid checking out of space. Anyway, we'll address that more because I think there's a couple other throw-ins where I pointed out more directly. So it's good that we find the feet of our midfielder here. I just want us to really start to recognize the busyness of this side of the field. Left is busy. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 blue shirts on the left. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 6 white shirts on the left. Can we switch the field? Where's the space? It's right here to the middle. If you can take a touch, if you can play, a forward who checks, a winger who checks, there's lots of options. If a winger kind of checks into the ball, now Robin can release into that space wide. We could play through a center back. There's just options, but let's start to just look for the space and try to exploit it instead of trying to kind of a difficult through ball that our winger wasn't really in the right space to receive. Not a bad idea. I do think that across the board, looking for space to exploit is going to make it better for us and make us a little more dangerous. And it starts to happen later in the half again. So pointing these things out early because we make adjustments and you can start to see it. This is great pressure. Now we've funneled him into this little pocket where we have all these guys looking to defend, and this is where we just have to close him down and can't let him out of the space. See? Well done. Now we force a bad pass. It's a turnover. It's fantastic work, pressuring high. Love it. So, again, outside back, getting the throw in. That's good. And he finds the feet of Soren, which is good. First touch has to be a great collection. First touch away from pressure. I think we can look to turn the ball again to the other side of the field. That's what I'm looking for my mids and relying on my mids to do. You got options here. If you can make a first clean touch kind of away from the defender, and it's important that you check your shoulder. I'm going to probably repeat this a couple times. Where's the defense? Check your shoulder. If he's on your right, that first touch should be up to your left because that immediately creates space for you. Then you can take your second touch and play Anthony as a center back. You can play Alan, you can play Alex. You've got options now. But if we don't have a good first touch, then that second touch becomes like a second first touch, and then we're closed down. All right? So that's what happens, and we're not able to make a good touch, a good pass because of it. Good work here. Just kind of a scramble for the ball. There's a few moments like this where, we're just we're working, and sometimes that's just the way it is. All right, I like the fact that Anthony pushed everybody up to midfield, and then he kind of slowly and subtly dropped back 5 yards. That helps a lot in a moment like this, because that means that when that ball comes through and Darian gets beat, or Darian has to scramble, he doesn't really get beat. He forces the man to turn. Anthony is there as well to support. That's great pressure and cover, guys. Well done. Defense starts to help out, starts to look better, but this moment is scary because I've got 2 center backs watching the ball, neither one picking up this man. And, like, this is their threat. So this man should be guarded all day long. And he has a better touch, and that's a goal. So we got away with a lucky break there. We just can't allow that to happen. Our center backs have to be working together. Someone is stepping, someone is dropping. But the stepping center back is the one who covers the number 9. No matter, fine. It just has to be communicated and be very clear. Okay? So that's really the difference there. Good challenge. I like us challenging for the ball, forcing play. See, this is one of the 4 Ds of defense. We dictate where they can play. Well, they can't play through us. Now they got to go back. So you guys are doing a really good job of forcing the back pass. I know that's part of their game plan too, but it works. If we're pressuring high and if we're working on high pressing, this is exactly what we want. We want them moving the ball back, and then we step to pressure together. And it's a high work rate way to play, but it does create opportunities for us, and we start to break them down a little more moving forward into the half. But again, really great work dictating play, cutting off the field, making them play wide here, and now we have to pressure that man. We have to pressure that outside back. Good. See, we win the ball. Oh, we're forced back into their half. No problem. Takes pressure off of our back line when we're able to pressure them high up the field. It's a good angled run. Hold your ground, Alex. Don't get caught too middle, too central there. See, when you drift wide like that, you allow him to take the ball into the middle of the field. And we can't allow that. Like, screen that central pass, force him, and dictate that pass wide. Give him that only option. You got to go wide because I'm covering the middle. And that's what we want. And then you step wide and pressure. So the problem here, too, is as he gets into this space, now we got to collapse on him. I got to step in front of the man that you're supposed to be marking and pressure him and not let him out. But because we don't, this is a center back who basically moves the ball all the way up the field and is able to connect with his winger. And he's broken our first 2 lines of pressure, and now they have a huge, huge swath of space in the middle of the field to build from. And that's bad for us because we're watching. Allen got caught just kind of ball watching. Midfielders are kind of running back with their man instead of marking a man. And force our defense to basically hit the panic button and try to overcompensate for just bad defensive shape and bad tactics. So it's a bit of a scramble, but again, these are the moments that we look for our back line for success in, and you guys are able to defend them. They didn't break us down much because of the strength of the back line, but again, this is scrambling, and we're kind of reacting instead of being defensively sound as a unit, and not all the time, but moments to really learn from. Now, in this moment right here, Rumi's got the ball, he's got space. I'd love to see this forward, make a little run, curl it so that you're on sides, and let Rumi take a touch, and then just play that ball on the ground down the line towards the flag, right along the numbers, and you'll be surprised at how dangerous you can be when you do that. It's okay to take the ball wide here. I don't mind, and we retain possession. That's totally fine, but I think if we can look to play that ball through on the outside like that, because the outside back was beat. It was just center backs and a forward. And again, if Robin can take a center back with him, then now all of a sudden we can send Skylar and Alex through and Allen, and we can have numbers forward. So it's something to think about. All right, good job with the outside back taking the throw. This is where I'm going to address where we should be on these throw-ins and how we can move dynamically. So it's check out, check in sort of scenario. Winger, take a couple steps towards the ball so you could be a short throw option. If that's the case, throw it to the winger's feet so he can bounce it back to you. So Logan will throw the ball in and then step in bounds so the wing can drop the ball back immediately to him. That's an option 1. Option 2, you could throw it to the winger's head and he could play a flick onto the forward who's running into space. Number 3, you could throw the ball down the line to the forward who's checking into that space that Rumi is basically moving out of. So we're creating movement, so we move the defensive man out of position. Because if Rumi comes forward, that defender is going to come forward with him. If Robin makes a run down the line, he's going to have some space. And then we have two center mids, and they're both kind of standing. So one check towards space, actually one check away, because that'll drag a defender, and let the other one move into that space. And then since Logan, the outside back, is taking the throw, I need a center back to move a little bit wider to be that drop option if we need it. Cool? All right, we're going to work on it, talk about this more in the next few weeks. We see a nice little flick there that almost worked, but I think if we're more organized and more intentional about these, then we'll start to see more success with these throw-ins. And that's good high pressure, Robin. Good job. And we just got to collapse on him here. We can't let him play out of the space. He has too much time and is able to exploit space. Good, Ian. You step on his back, he doesn't have time to turn. All right. So this is something I need all of us to be working on. One thing I notice about club players that are high-level club players is that this is an automatic move. Everyone at this level should just be automatically checking their shoulder. We work on it in practice. Where's my defender? He's on my left. I got to make my first touch to the right, away from pressure. Create distance between me and the defender. If he's on my right shoulder and I turn right, I'm turning into pressure. That's kind of what happens here with Robin. And because of that, the ball gets poked. So know where your defense is, turn away from him, first touch, and make that a dynamic move with the ball into that space away from pressure. All right, and there are things we can do to work on it, and I'll talk about that again moving forward. All right, so here is a really big moment for our defensive line to be aware of our positioning. If we hold the 50, which is what I want us doing when we're in there half of the third, then everyone's got to hold the 50. Because this guy's offside. So because Anthony is dropping back, then this man is in an onside. In fact, I think all three guys, actually Ian is not, but Darian and Anthony are keeping him onside. So if we step the line, we force him to stay a little bit deeper in his half too, and this ball doesn't get played, or if it does, he's offside. But as a result, it's a little bit dangerous to the ball. And then Ian, don't overcommit. You need to make sure that you force him outside instead of overcommitting outside. Just break down your run there so that you can get side on and defend him properly. And then again, I will point this out. I want to see our forward look to make a run towards the wing of the ball, of the side the ball is moving to. Just living a little too central here. I think we're going to address this a little bit further in the video. But this is another example of where everyone just kind of stands around on the throw in, and it's not really productive in a way that it could be because everyone's just kind of standing. So we end up losing the ball, and then it's a scramble. So it's a good idea to try to throw the line. I like that. Hey, we get the ball 10 yards up, we do it again. I love march the ball down the field. You know, we get up, we get our line up, we get our defensive line up, step everybody up together, push our forwards up. Even on the weak side, you should be ball high at least, and that's fine. Good job, defense, stepping up. See, when you step and pressure, you win the ball most of the time, and we eliminate that threat. I like, Alex, you're looking to play your outlet pass here. That's totally fine. I think that's the right decision. If you get stood up like that, you can't turn, lay it off, play him back, and let him go through. And when he does, that's when the forward needs to be moving wide, moving high and wide. Our midfielders tended to get a little too sucked into the ball side, all three of them kind of living in the same space. And I know we're working on that as a group, understanding spacing as midfielders, but everyone is right there together. And so we just need to be aware of that. And because of it, it's easy to mark, and because of it, we get kind of caught up in each other's feet and in each other's space. So it's super essential that, say Soren is kind of more of a six, a CDM right now. Hey, just take a couple steps backwards, be that option, let him drop it back to you, and then you look to turn and switch. because you can. It's just important that we think about a rule of three being 3 steps, 3 dynamic steps drop into a position to be open to receive the ball. Now we're being countered, and we just have to defend. It's, you know, a dangerous situation. So. I like this. Force him back, dictate play, force a back pass. That's fine. You know, they definitely were challenged with breaking our pressure high, and again, it gave us a lot of good reps in a game situation, pressuring high. I thought you guys did a really good job across the board doing this, and you really sealed off that pass. So we had to go to this side of the near side of the field, which is what you want. You want that center back to play there, and now we just have to pressure this ball here. A little bit unfortunate, you know, and then again, defenders got to be sure-footed with that ball because that's a dangerous play for sure. There were a couple times where our defense just miskicked, miscleared, things like that. That's okay. I like that our midfielders are in a much better line. See, you're all in this midfield zone together, and as a result, we are much more effective with winning the ball, or at least challenging for that first ball. So, and good, drew a foul there. See, well done. You guys are in the right spot. It's a great ball. I think if we can collect this, and I know it was a hard ball because of the bounce, it was difficult to get to. It's a good idea, good intention. Outside back, Logan, this is you. Look to get a little wider and be maybe that drop option, so not everything has to be moving forward. Like we can drop the ball back, and then that'll activate the forward to make that run down the line, that curling run to the flag, and you can play him on the ground. I think if we simplify some of these attacking tactics, then we'll start to see a lot more success. So, but, you know, it's a battle in the midfield, and that sometimes we win that one, sometimes we lose it, but that's soccer. Good recovery, way to force him back. It's good. Better defensive shape. There's the mistake. Good. And it's good capitalizing on that. Now, I think we just need to recognize that we're in a 1v4 situation. Where can we play the ball? I don't think it's a bad decision trying to look to play the ball wide, but then we just don't have numbers up, so we don't have to force this to come down the wing when they have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 blue shirts, and we have maybe 3. So at this point, Alex as a winger, recognize that and kick the ball back. You got Allen over there screaming for the ball, probably looking to be an outlet. So not everything, again, has to be forward. We can play the ball back. We can switch fields through our midfielders. They're capable of that. We need to start looking for those opportunities because that's going to be difference maker, and that's going to create chances. All right, a bit of a theme here is our defenders at times not reading that pass and stepping to the back of the opponent. You gave him too much space, so now he has time to turn and play the ball forward. So we just have to be on him. And when you step early, then you pressure it, and the pass is usually a bad pass. So I know we just have to be consistent about that. That's all. Yep, good pressure. Force predictable play. Don't let him. Yep, it's good. Like everything about the way we're defending right now is good. Forcing him to play side to side. There's a mistake, and we have to really capitalize on that. And this is something that I wanted to point out. Skylar, you kind of like peeled off. Like if you see the mistake, you go after him. Because you peel off and you don't defend. I know that typically this isn't your man, but in a situation like this, it is because Robin's caught trying to push play this way. So if you can anticipate that bad pass, I go, Robin can then drop in and cover for you. I know it's a little more advanced, but as far as a tactic when we're high pressing, just go after it and let's pressure that ball. Because if we can trap him in this corner, then we're in a much better space. Because we don't, he now has all kinds of time to look up and to play a really dangerous ball. And Logan, you get caught napping on this one. There's a few of these moments where you just kind of check out, and you're not anticipating and not defending and marking your man. So now you're having to recover. So if you're able to stay with your man, then the recovery is, the load and the work rate is lower for you. You're not working quite so hard. So just stay with your guy. Always be aware of that guy and stay goal side of him. Again, much better midfielders. We get to the ball first, which is good. So that's always a good thing. We're forcing the ball back into their half. Another good thing. Forcing a back pass. Another good thing. So like a lot of great moments in this game. And this is the ball that we have to win this ball. We have to make sure that if they play that big ball over the top, that we're there to get it. And eventually do, which is great. Good job, Soren, using your body. An unlucky bounce, but that's the battle we have to keep taking to them. The midfield battle is where this game is won or lost, and you guys are doing a good job of battling. You start to see a bit of a momentum shift. And I'll say I love this. This moment to me was a great moment. Playing the ball out of a tight space, working together. Logan gets it, plays it to Rumi. Rumi looks to play to basically split their attacking and midfield guys, and then we've got both Soren and Anthony. And I think this is a good idea. I think that the intention was great. It's the right ball to play. So it's not always going to be perfect, but I think I loved everything about that. Composure, playing out of tight spaces, trying to move the ball forward. And again, another mistake. So you guys are you start to feel the shift, start to feel the pressure that we're putting on them, and they're starting to crack a little bit. So, again, Alex just overcommitted a little too much. The center back is not someone you need to pressure at this point with the ball. You just need to make sure that he's not beating you with a split pass, and you are forcing him to play wide. So because you overcommit, now he's able to play wide, and now they play down the line. So they're really good at that. I will say the pressure on his back was good, but they're still able to win the ball back. And now we're overcommitting and we're diving in. And it becomes a situation where we've got to figure out a way to get in there and slow him down. Great job, Darian, on a near post recovery run. You got beat. Anthony goes out and covers, and he tries to win the ball. Yes, he gets beat, but guess what? There you are again to step in and defend. And that is perfect pressure and cover with each other. You guys are getting it, and I think you start to see, oh, okay, that makes sense. And I did it again, So the more you do it, the more you get familiar with doing it, and the better you become at it. So that's really working with each other to provide good defensive shape and good defensive tactics. Again, we start to leave our guys wide open in the back. We get caught sleeping here, bad clearance, boom, goal. And that's what happens. In a game like this, you switch off for a minute defensively, they get a goal. And so, it was frustrating to see, and I know you have put all this hard work in, and there's just a moment where we switch off. For if you're defending that guy a little more intentionally, you pressure him, and let me tell you, he doesn't get that ball, or if he gets it, he doesn't get a good shot off. But if he's got time to collect the ball and take a touch, then that's on him for not finishing it. So that's okay. We're still in this game. So let's try this, and I want to address this now because you actually do start to do it a little bit more. On a kickoff, let's not concede every inch of space in our half. We don't need to play the ball back and back and back and back all the way to the goalkeeper. That's not our jam, okay? We don't play the ball out of the back that well. And so what I want to see us do, knock the ball back to midfielder, Skylar here, and let's get Max down the line and play that ball forward. And let's see if we can send him down the line and create an opportunity. So then at least the ball is in their half of the field instead of playing the ball all the way back, all the way back, all the way back, and then we lose it right here. So let's work on that. Let's be intentional about trying to play forward on our kickoffs. Good job, Logan, recovering and poking the ball away. Okay, so I'm going to address this here. Because if you see, I'm talking to Robin, and I'm asking him to move over to this side of the field and kind of start more as on the outside of the field instead of in the middle. So I'm going to come back to that in a minute. Well defended. Good stepping, and they lose the ball here. Okay, so this is where I just need to understand. I pulled you, Robin. I'm going to pick on you for a second, but this is for all of our forwards. I pulled you outside so that you could be that outlet pass in that space. I don't know why you ran back into the middle of the field, but that's a habit you need to break. Because a forward, you don't just live in the middle of the field. Maybe that's how you've done it in the past. Maybe that's how you've done it on other teams. Maybe that's what other coaches have asked you to do. That's not what I'm asking you to do. I want you to move outside and create space on the outside, because you got all kinds of space on the outside. And Skylar could have just played you into the 40-yard line out there by the touch line, and you could have been off to the races, okay? But instead, you chose to run inside, so now you're running into Skylar's space. So now he has nowhere to go with the ball. I don't think cutting back into the middle of the field is the best decision either, but his options were kind of limited, and he was trying to switch field. So just addressing that now, if I move you out to the side, I want you to stay out there and be that outlet. Don't just automatically out of habit run back into the middle of the field. You're running back into two center backs, and at this point, you're going to have to learn to adapt your game to get into those spaces that are out, not always right in the middle of the park. They're going to be on the outside. So if you had stayed out like I'd asked, you'd have been able to receive the ball to feet and been able to turn and play forward. So as a result, this guy's got limited options. We try to switch fields. I don't mind the intention there, but I was trying to simplify the game for us. And, you've got to be aware of those things. Alex, that was a good try. I could tell you were trying to cut off that pass, and you just kind of squeaked it by you. But you were in the right spot with your right intention. And then if we can't get beat down the line like this, all right, we do a lot of overcommitting and diving in. So number 1 D of defense is delay. So you delay, you get your guys back. Now you're beat, and you're running to catch up, all right? I do like getting this ball forward. That's fantastic work, moving the ball up the wing. Again, forward, you're just right in the middle of the field. So as the ball moves wide, go ball side and be wide ball side, because that gives the winger, if he drops back to receive this, the space is behind him now, because the outside back has to move forward with him. You're sitting in the middle of the field and you have two center backs, one on each side of you. You're not open. They're not going to get the ball to you there. If you want the ball, move out to the space that was just occupied by the winger who had to drop back to receive. And then we can play through Skylar. We can play a drop pass to the outside back who can go long. Alex can beat his man and play down the line. Like these are very simple ways of playing that don't require a person dribbling too much and trying to beat two defenders, which is what Alex is trying to do here, right? So if we can figure that out, then we'll be fine. Alex does a great job of keeping the ball under pressure, plays a nice long ball into space. It was good. It was a good effort. The right idea. Execution might not have been perfect, but you know what? It's never going to be perfect, but it's what I want to see. So well done with that at the end of the day. I think that ball might have supposed to have been for Max, but that's okay. Logan, you get better with just defending with your body. There you go. You stand him up, and then you just beat him. Good. See, that's much better. And Ian is there to cover. So Ian, well done covering for him. He pressures, you cover, and then you have Anthony dropping back to give balance. Pressure, cover, balance. That's team defense, guys. Good job, Ian. You're this back option. That's fine. Skylar, Soren steps in. Skylar wants you to, yep, good. You guys did good execution on this. And I love this reset. Very well done. It's composure, guys. Good positioning. See, there were options there. And we get the ball to Max, which is fantastic. Now, I think Max, again, I'll address this again because I've talked about this a little bit, and that is the checking your shoulder, right? If you need to see where your pressure is. And if you have spot, time, and space to turn, go for it, okay? And if your pressure's on your left, turn right. And I think you could have turned outside and beat this man down the line. And I think that's an option. I think what you did was fine. you had an option you're trying to play, but of course it just gets tangled up. And now the problem is, since we played it into the middle of the field, now we're having to recover because they're countering really quickly. So I'd rather us lose the ball outside than lose the ball right to the middle of the park. So, Logan, another moment where you end up switching off here and you're just kind of watching the game. That's your man. Go get goal side of him. I worry, that guy would concern me because it'd be easy for a ball to just kind of get through and him to be unmarked right there, and then you're scrambling. So, pressure your man first, cover your man first, and then you can drop off and look to guard the space. But you always have a man to mark as an outside back. Good job clearing the ball. We just got to, that's totally a foul there. Good grief. I was screaming at the guy. Like, I don't know why I didn't call that. That's garbage. Anyway, so, ay. Thought you guys did well on defending corners. I think there were a lot of corners. You guys defended really well on all of them. So, well done. Good punt out. It was a great punt. Almost gets to the 50. That's a good effort there. Good try on the first touch. You're in the right spot to receive it. That's great. That first touch will come. Just keep working on it, and I think that's a lot of what the Friday night skill stuff is about too. Plus, like I said, when we get into long balls with each other in our trainings, that's to help you with a good first touch so you can secure the ball on your first touch. That's what those moments are for. Good defense, guys. All right, let's address this, Max. This flat pass right to the middle of the field at the top of our 18 is never a good decision because it's so dangerous. And we lose the ball there, and let's just going right to somebody's feet, then we are in big trouble. So you've got a back pass option, and Logan, he's in the right spot to receive this ball and to play it forward. He's got the vision of the field. So you don't have to do everything with the ball. If you can just collect the ball, pass that ball back to Logan. Logan's going to just drive the ball up the field. Robin is in the right spot. Look at that. He's on the wing like he should be. He can turn and go, or he can win the ball and go. But let's not try to play this ball right back to the middle of the field like that. That is a really, really dangerous ball. Well done. Good first touch. Beat your man. Like, everything about that is textbook. That's exactly what we do. Play the ball wide to the man who's an outlet, and let's go down the field together. All right. So again, Robin has drifted central again. So I'm trying to break you of this habit because the space is on the outside. You're guarded by two center backs, and they're good center backs. So you've got to create space for yourself. So bend your run around the center back and make that run down the line. And then Max can just play you a ball on the ground right to the flag, and you can run on and you can use your speed. And then Max can move central into the space, and Skylar can move central to the space you vacated. But what he tries to do, because you're central, is play this perfect slip pass, like I said, between two pretty good center backs. So let's simplify the game for ourselves. And good job getting on it. And Skylar, like, that's the right thing for you to do. Like, you anticipated that we were going to get forward. You got there quickly. You got the ball. Like, all of that worked out well. But I think, and we could have scored a goal on it. So well done, guys. But if I go back and talk about positioning so that we simplify our attack, forward, man, look to exploit the outside spaces. That's where the space is. So I really want us to be working on that, because you'll find more success breaking through the lines on the outside and timing those runs better. It was a good idea. Just missed it, but a really good idea trying to find the feet of our man. And I think also forward, recognize that you and Max have kind of switched places a little bit here, and it's okay for you to play kind of as a winger role in this moment. Like, there's got to be switching of positioning up top. Like, you can't just stay in the middle, wingers just stay wide. Like, there are times when you can become that winger role, and now is one of those. Like, the ball was played to your foot across the middle, and you just sort of followed it to the outside, and Max kind of did a good job in switching with you. So recognize the space for you is now on the outside. So look to kind of get wide, pull a defender with, or get into space wide so you can receive the ball to feet and turn. And then Logan has an easier option. Right now he's got to play a perfect ball through, and it's just a little overhit. It's not a bad idea at all. But I think if he can play your feet, or if you can get wide and then he can play you wide and you can attack the line, that's an option to explore. Okay. Center back really's got to step on this man. He has way too much space. You're both dropping off. Only one of you needs to be dropping, and at this point it's Anthony. So, Ian, you got to be on this guy's back. And Soren, not Skylar. Yeah, that's Soren. Sorry. Soren, you've got to use your body here. You're just you start to kind of shy away from the ball here, and you just got to be stronger with your challenges. And Skylar, good intention. I think you and Alan, again, you guys are in each other's space a little too much. So Alan, drop back. Think about taking 3 steps to drop and be that diagonal drop pass instead of that flat pass that gets broken up here because you have a rough first touch and we lose it. So, and now we're being countered. And it's, again, I know it's familiarity, new players learning the position and playing together, and that's fine. But just something to think of. Be more of an angle with your passing options instead of just being flat with each other in the same line. Way to draw the foul. Good job, guys. Good pressure here, and well done, Max, to really not even let him out of this space. I thought you did a really good job, kind of taking that on your own. And good job, Robin. You guys are doing great to corral the ball towards this side. We just got to pin him in here when we get him in here and just really go after it. And I like this idea to play the ball forward. And it's a good run. It's good intention. And I think this leads to a corner, which is perfect. That's what we want. Win a throw, win a corner, that's an opportunity. I think we have a great chance here with this corner kick. So as I start to see the momentum shift in this game at this point in the game. We started to attack more, you started to win the midfield battles more, and you started to grow in your confidence, and you're trying to connect passes, you're trying to break the lines and the back line, and you're putting them under a great deal of pressure, and that takes a lot of pressure off of our defense. And a great attempt just almost connected and went in, and that's awesome because as we see later, you guys do connect and it does go in, which to me it was such a fantastic goal. So, but anyway, we're in it. You can tell you guys are not playing like you're defeated. You're playing with hunger and with desire, and you're battling, and that's what it takes. A little overcommitment there, Alex. I don't need you to commit to him. Let Robin pressure him, and you basically want to dictate that pass to go to the outside back, and then you step to him and pressure him. But because he has no pressure, he's bringing the ball forward. And it looks to me like everybody in the midfield is kind of running with and watching instead of looking to defend a man. So Allen leaves his man. I've got another man open over here. Logan is looking to pressure him. But because we've got so many men who are just running back and watching, they get through. And Ian is basically on high alert. He's just got to go win the ball, force this man outside. Don't overcommit, don't dive in, and all those things happen, and they're able to score a goal because of it. So it's just an unfortunate counter when the pressure was on our end and we were really starting to switch the momentum. We allowed that to happen because everybody kind of switched off defensively, starting with our midfielders. That really was our midfielders kind of switching off and just ball watching as the ball goes by. Hey, you know what? I like this. We play the ball back to a center mid, and then they look to play forward. It might not have been perfect execution, but the intention is definitely the right idea. So all those things are better, are much better. Good job, Logan. Winning the ball. We're challenging for the ball. It's all good. These are all good things, all great moments. He's got to have a good first touch there to collect that ball as cleanly as possible. And now we pressure him high again. That's good. Yeah. Oh, I love the step. Logan. And you know why? Because you pressured him from the back. If that was your guy, you recognize you were a little too deep and you went forward, and because he felt your footsteps behind him, he makes a terrible bad pass and it goes all the way back, and we're able to to get dangerous because of it, and we get a corner out of it. And as we know, this corner leads to a goal. So if you think about Logan, you stepped on that guy and you pressured him and you forced a bad pass, and that bad pass resulted in a corner kick, and that corner kick results in a goal. So if you don't think that you don't impact the game as a defender from on the offensive side, you're wrong, because that was totally on 100% because of you stepping to that man. Oh, how sweet it is. This goal, I could watch it over and over again. It's fantastic work. Everything about it is great. It's a great corner kick. It's just a great header, such intention with it. Just burn the keeper. He's back post. Just no chance at that. I love it, everything about it. So really well done. That's a great goal and very well deserved. So I'm going to end this here. And there was a lot to talk about, a lot to go over. And so that's where we'll stop it, and I hope you enjoy it and learn a lot from it, and I'll see you all on Wednesday.